on our website, we've launched AI for chat. AI doesn't go to lunch. They don't go to sleep. So they're able to really meet our customers where they are. And I think that's one of the great things about being able to leverage tools that have AI in them is that, sometimes the customer experience is limited by what people are able to do, and when we're able to use AI to actually provide a better customer experience, that's a win-win all around.
Welcome to Future Fuzz, the digital marketing podcast.
Welcome into Future Fuzz, the digital marketing podcast. I'm Vince Quinn, and today we're talking with Rachel Truair. Rachel is a marketing powerhouse. She's got over 15 years of experience driving revenue and growth for companies ranging from high-growth startups to Fortune 100 companies. She's also the CMO of Simpro, a 200 million plus ARR field service management software company. Rachel's expertise is in the go-to-market strategy and global team leadership, and she's responsible for an impressive 90% of Simpro's annual revenue. Rachel, welcome to Future Fuzz.
Thanks so much, Vince. Nice to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. I have so many things that I want to ask you about Simpro, but before we get deep into it, let's just start at the beginning and let people know what Simpro is. Give us a little background.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so Simpro is a global leader in the commercial field service management space, really designed specifically for the trades like HVAC, plumbing, electrical businesses. And we help those businesses streamline quoting, job scheduling, inventory billing, and even communicating with their customers. So you can kind of think of Simpro as kind of the digital backbone or the operating system of a trade business that allows it to reach profitability, measure its efficiency, and really helps companies grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's so nice to have everything in one place, right? To just be like, let me go here, and it's got everything laid out right in front of me.
Absolutely. I mean, the trades businesses are busier than ever, and so being able to have a place where they can really keep track of what's happening in their company. We have an amazing mobile app that allows the field technicians to go out and interact with the home office or the home base of the trades business and keep track of all sorts of things, what their notes are that they're putting in, how long they're on jobs, all sorts of ways to really kind of streamline that process that's happening in the office and then outside of the office as well. And the other great thing about our business is we help companies that are doing both project and service-based work. So whether they're, providing regular services to an office building, or they're actually building out a new HVAC unit or 200 units in a big office building, they're able to kind of measure against projects, but also measure against the efficiency around the services they're offering.
Yeah, so to have, I mean, it's such a massive reach, all these different kinds of businesses, all the nuances, all in one place, and to be able to connect with these people. What's so fascinating is through the conversations that we've had is that your obsession with AI. And so when you think about field service, like AI is not the first thing that necessarily comes to mind. And so can you give us a little bit more than just with Simpro, what the way you've embraced AI and what you do?
Yeah, at Simpro, in the product itself, we view AI as a force multiplier for the trades. We recently launched our AI-powered work notes, which is essentially really saving a lot of manual time of data entry that was happening for the trades and the technicians of putting in notes and then transferring them into other places. So a huge time saver. And on the marketing side of the house, that's how I view it as well. How can we really have AI enable what we're doing to help us scale and grow as well? And so the last, 6 to 9 months have really been a journey around deploying different AI tools and technology into our go-to-market motion. So one of the big, I would say, success stories I like to talk about is using AI email agents as essentially kind of like an additional BDR or, inside sales rep in your company. BDRs spend so much time sending emails, working on pitches and replying to leads. And we always hear that, they're really busy. And so last year we piloted a AI email agent that was essentially set up as an additional BDR in our team. And they received a round robin of leads, just like a BDR would, and then started reaching out over email. And we actually saw that BDR, we called her Daniela, ramp up very quickly. In her first 2 weeks, she qualified 2 opportunities, which we were all cheering for her on the sidelines. And then within the first 30 days, we actually won one of those opportunities as a customer. And so we started actually scaling that motion out across all of our inbound MQLs over the last few months to be essentially following up almost instantaneously on all the MQLs that we get. So now our BDRs are really only coming in after the AI is engaged when we get a hand raiser or when there's really tight alignment around, the ICP and they're showing engagement with AI. And so we've really started to quantify that in terms of both time and revenue impact. So for example, we estimate, and our tooling allows us to see that we're saving about 2 hours per day per BDR on time spent doing email outreach. And with that time, we're able to reallocate it to other higher value activities for the BDRs. And when you really draw that all the way through to revenue, it's about a 1.8 million ARR uplift that we've gained since we launched this in June. So globally, and so that's been really exciting. We've also just seen a lot of great work on the chat side on our website. We've launched AI for chat, and AI doesn't go to lunch; they don't go to sleep, so they're able to really meet our customers where they are. And I think that's one of the great things about being able to leverage tools that have AI in them is that sometimes the customer experience is limited by what people are able to do, and when we're able to use AI to actually provide a better customer experience, that's a win-win all around. So we've seen a 320% lift on meetings booked using our AI chat functionality. And so again, rather than, having our BDRs constantly checking the chat for what's coming in and, making these hours where they have to sit and make sure they're on the chat and responding quickly, we're able to have more flexibility for them. They can go and do other things with their time. It's a lot better on all sides for everybody. And so we've been really happy with how AI for chat has been able to support a better customer experience and better business outcomes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful thing to see because that's the point of all of this, right? Like when it first just came to the idea of, let's go back like 20, 30 years, it's like, let's get websites out because you need that 24/7 presence and you want people to be able to access you anytime. But then when you get to chatbots, I mean, the number of times I've just wanted to slam my keyboard because a bad chatbot was just impossible to work with. And now to get to a point where you have this kind of sophistication with these AI tools where you can have engaging conversations. I mean, I even saw somebody today that was complaining on LinkedIn about how they were getting DMs in their InMail and it was AI bots and they realized 5 messages in and it took them that long because the quality of the communication is so good. It's really natural. It's clean. It's personable. And I think that's what people are afraid to let go of.
Yeah.
But you can get that, and clearly you're seeing that because you're getting the results. I mean, everybody's progressing through, and it's building the right connection.
Yeah, and I think people worry about what's going to happen to the human element of people's work. And one thing I can tell you is humans aren't going anywhere anytime soon. I even though we're using AI in a lot of places, there's so much work that still has to be done around how you set them up, how you tune them, making sure that you're reporting on them. On the BDR side, we've actually been able to build out an inside sales team. So we've actually given our BDRs a step up in their careers where now they're actually getting to do full cycle sales because we're using those same resources that previously were spending most of their time following up on leads to now actually sell all the way through to some of our deals, smaller deals, the ones that move really quickly, they're getting to sell all the way through. They love it because it's a step up in a career for them. We're also aligning some of our BDRs to our strategic sellers and able to have them focus more on these larger accounts where they're really getting deep in the accounts, understanding the personas, things that take a little bit more time and definitely a human touch or sometimes human working with AI to really dig into, what is the problem we're trying to solve with this potential account? How do I reach out to these personas? And so I've seen it firsthand that, just by deploying AI doesn't mean that you're having to cut, 20 people the next week. And I think actually it's creating more career opportunities, just different types of career opportunities, but ones that often are, I would say, higher quality, higher value, where you do need human ingenuity in them. I have a funny story from the last company I was at. I ran our BDR organization there as well. And I had a BDR. This was in the kind of the early days of when ChatGPT launched and everyone was kind of toying around with it. And he got really interested in it. And I asked him if he would do a lunch and learn for our BDR team and also our marketing team on just like how to use it and like what do you do with it and how do you talk to it, which is funny now because we've all gotten so into Chat GPT, right? But he showed us some tips and tricks. Like I remember he made a funny little like rap song in our CEO's voice or something. And he had such a passion for it that he ended up outside of work starting a Udemy course for how to use AI. And he started doing these courses. He started charging for them, and he ended up making more money doing that than he was as a BDR. So he quit his job as a BDR, started this AI consulting agency. And I love the story because it's like, at the time people were worried, like what's going to happen to the, future of the BDR? And it's such a great example of someone that, he actually had a much more interesting career opportunity he built for himself on the back of AI. And I think it's a good example of how, embracing technology can really lead to some great things for people.
Yeah, it is such a relief, and that's really where I feel like it works the best too. It's these things where it's not just AI out on its own, you're just leaning on to do everything for you, but you need to be very intentional. And for me, for example, I love my custom GPTs for different kinds of things that I'm doing. So yeah, I mean, for all because for me, I spend a lot of time in podcasting, and you got to get posts up, you got to create all this different kind of content, and I've got ideas for my newsletter, but I need to flesh it out a little bit, and that's what it takes. So when you want to get the most out of it, it's informed people with great intention and being able to just have them leverage the technology. So you love to see it come together like that.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the custom GPTs myself, and I find myself actually showing up as a better leader because of them. I'm often able to develop better content, better responses to people, crafting my message, and also learning. I think it's a really good. It really is quite good in terms of coaching and developing, and it's got so many different ways you can kind of get it to give you different points of view on what's working, what's not. So I'm finding it all sorts of ways to use it just personally that I think have so much value to people in leadership these days.
Future Fuzz is sponsored by SalesSource, B2B pipeline management and sales growth for your business.
Yeah, so I want to transition a little bit because we've done so much on a truly digital side, and I actually want to do something that is the complete opposite. And I love this about Simpro is your live event, Simproseum. I love the name. It's an A+ name, whoever did that. Great work by them. And I just let people know, like a little overview with the event and what the approach is there.
Yeah, so Simprosium, you can find it on Simprosium.com. It's essentially the industry event for field service management. And what's exciting about this year, this is our third year running Simprosiums. We are doing our first 2-day Simprosiums this year. So we have one in London in October, on October 23rd through the 24th, and then one in Sydney in November from the 13th to the 14th. So, we are really excited. We sold out the last year in both London and our Sydney event. So definitely, if you're interested, check out, you can register online. And this is really meant to be a place to gather together all of the different industry experts, as well as our customers, people that are working in the trenches day to day around the trades, and really coming to it with a growth mindset. Like, how do you continue to evolve and iterate your business in the trades and stay ahead of trends, navigate different challenges? So we have all sorts of different types of sessions, workshops, panels. Some of the, different sessions are focused on where is the AI headed in the trades, and, talks a little bit about how trades are using AI to, change their businesses and change their lives. It's also talking a little bit about just overall, like, how do you deploy technology? We've got some great change management sessions around that, because we hear often from our customers that, they're rolling out different technologies in these existing teams, and that can be hard. It's going to talk a little bit about, some of the challenges with the labor force in trades, because there's a lot of issues right now with, there not being enough labor to support all of the different things that have to happen in the trades. And so how do you become an expert in recruiting and developing teams and retaining your teams. And then we're really excited this year. Our featured speaker is Pinder, who is a research vice president at IDC. And IDC is the research firm or analyst firm for field services and customer support in that market. They really focus on understanding, what's happening in that space, what does the future of that space look like, and how do they impact the customer experience. And so he'll be joining us to talk about some really interesting and visionary things about where the field services industry is headed. And it's going to be great. I've seen a high level outline of his talk, and it's going to be really, really interesting. So, we really encourage people, if you're in the US, join us in London. It's probably a tax write-off, or Sydney. And it's a 2-day event. It'll be really, the hotels are quite nice. So it's a great time to, bring the family and join us there. And we really want to bring together also, for people that are currently using Simpro, a space for them to collaborate and exchange ideas and talk with our partner network, which is a big part of how we operate. We really embrace our ecosystem, and we'll have a lot of our key partners there that can help with things like data migration or business coaching or accountancies. So it's really a one-stop shop for someone that's looking to learn and grow in the field services space.
Yeah, and I have more questions about the event, but just a little bit more about the ecosystem first. I mean, what has it been for people in the field service space to get this kind of ecosystem around them?
Yeah, so Simpro has a really big focus around developing our ecosystem for it's really an opportunity for trades businesses to get the best of not only Simpro, but get connected with technology partners, integrations, and service providers that can help them with their businesses. And we really want to be the conduit to that. So we actually just recently launched on our website Marketplace, which is a place on our website where you can actually go and get into other best in breed technologies through the marketplace and learn about them. And they've been vetted by us, and we know that they provide great services, great support. But more broadly, Simpro has a massive customer base across 3 different regions, and companies are building their companies on Simpro. Trades businesses are growing their businesses, they're selling their businesses to private equity, they're making amazing investments and exits in the trades, which is really exciting to see. But also with that, there's been a whole ecosystem of partners that have built up around it. And there's companies that are building their businesses around Simpro practices. And so we want to create that kind of opportunity for both our partners and our customers to come together. And we use Simproseum to do that. We also use the marketplace to do that. So we're really excited to be kind of the main flywheel in the field services industry that's allowing that motion to happen.
And so with that, because going back then to Simprosium a little bit and how you're bringing all of these things together, I mean, from what I've seen, just looking at essentially the run of show for these different events and everything you put together, it looks so intentional, this sense of ownership, it's obvious how much you care about the customer and are paying attention to the customer, I think, is really what it boils down to. I mean, it's so intentional, and everything you're saying now just really reinforces that. I mean, how do you begin? Because I think for a lot of people, they want to get to this kind of level where they truly understand what people need, can set up these kinds of engagements, give them that information. Like, how do you begin to understand people, like, as you're putting these events together? I mean, how do you determine what are the kinds of things that people need and what's worth discussing?
It's a lot of listening to the customer, as you point out. And, we have 5 core values at Simpro. One of them is customer centric. Another one is growth mindset, and then being accountable. Another one's having, a one team mindset, and then finally celebrate success. So when you mix all those together in the cauldron of values, what you end up with is a really tightly aligned focus on how do we help our customers grow? How do we help them celebrate what they're doing? I didn't mention this, but we have 45 customers signed up to speak at Simproseum. So we're very much highlighting their stories and what they have to talk about and how it's impacting them and where they've had challenges and, where they're headed next in their business. And so we feel that accountability, that's one of our values. We feel accountable to being that company in this space. When we looked at Simpro, we saw that there was this great customer base. There was this burgeoning partnership ecosystem, and there was an amazing product. And the real opportunity was to bring all three of those together and start to have that conversation in the same room. And that's really what we've started to do over and over again. And whenever there's a question about what we should do, inevitably, if we go back to what the customer is telling us, that's the answer. And so we've done quite a bit of, analysis around the voice of the customer. We've done quite a bit of just deep dives in customer conversations. And I will say that, even with these events, right, it's our third year doing them. They're not always perfect. We learn a lot as we go. And we actually send out, surveys afterward. We really take it seriously what people tell us they want. We also survey people ahead of time. What do you want to hear this year? So it's keeping the customer center of what we're doing and reminding ourselves that the product is just one piece of this. It's, it's a three-legged stool, and we have a great product. We've got a great customer base, and we've got an amazing partner ecosystem, and being able to bring that together and having that accountability around that is what's really helped propel our success, but more importantly, our customers' success.
Yeah. And then beyond that, just seeing the amount of general content, because like going to your website and you look at all the different resources that are available there. So it's not just that you have the events and access to people that way and building those relationships there, but you're making things all the time that continue to remind people of what the value is, how to leverage the platform, things that they need, webinars. It just seems like you're making so many different kinds of pieces.
Yeah, we've had to be very intentional about that too, because as you probably know, for in the last couple of years in digital marketing, efficiency has ruled all. And, I always tell people that when they ask me about being a CMO, that I'm sure you've seen Batman and how Bane comes out and says, I'm not afraid of the dark. I was born in the dark. Sometimes I tell people I was born in the dark. I became a CMO during a time of major efficiency focus, during a time where the economy was starting to shift from that idea of, and rapidly shifting from growth at all costs to, sustainable growth. And what I love about it is, it's when you focus on sustainable growth, all the things we've been talking about, customer value and customer success and, having a product that's a really strong product, all those things become, they drown out the noise of everything else. They become extremely important. And so when you look at the content on our site or you see a webinar, it's coming from a place of not only focusing on the customer and what they need or what they're trying to learn about, but an intentional sustainability around why we're doing it as a marketing organization. Because if we're doing things that don't make sense, I always tell my team, we can do anything, but we can't do everything. We can't do everything. We would burn out and we would run out of money, right? We can't just chase every possible butterfly in the field, but we can do anything. So we've got to figure out, how do we prioritize those things that are going to be sustainable, that are that we can repurpose, that we can use in a lot of different channels that drive engagement and interest. And it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay. Not every ball you hit is going to be a home run, but understanding that, looking at the metrics around it and then iterating is one of the, key aspects of what we do in marketing. And I think that's what gives us a lot of confidence that what we're putting out is valued. We can see it in the numbers. We can see it as this company grows. So I would say that, it's something to remind yourself is like, why are we doing this? And is there a point to it? Or are we just doing it because we did it last year and we're just doing it all over again? Or because someone said so? You often hear companies like this, the founder said so, but is that really what the customers want? So getting to that place of understanding what's going to create traction and value for the customer is such a centering place, especially in today's, more efficiency-minded workforce.
Yeah, truer words have not been spoken in this environment, honestly, when it comes to content. Like, that's completely what it's about. So we're going to stop right there, and we're all going to reflect on it, all right? So that is our episode for today. Rachel Truair, thank you so much for joining us today on Future Fuzz. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, Vince.
Thanks for tuning in and making the choice to listen to this podcast. If you liked what you've heard today, please don't forget to subscribe.